Hi everyone, welcome to Bring the Heat by the Corning Museum of Glass Hot Glass team. My name is Catherine Ayers, and today I'll be making a vase with some sculpted flowers on it. So here I'm making a collar, which is a little bit of glass on the end of a blowpipe, and we cleared the end of it so you can still blow through it, but it has that thick, gooey glass on the outside so you can roll up these canes. So we took a measurement, a pie divider measurement, which gave us the diameter of the collar. Here I am just rocking it back on center. Instead of pushing it down, it's nice to keep it round just by rocking it and getting it back on center. The marver is used to push those canes together. You can also use the jacks to kind of squeeze all those canes together so there's no spaces. So just kind of zipping everything up. And then to make a bubble, we're just going to close off the end. And I like that little flower on the end, so we're going to cut that off and save it. We'll use it for something. Now that we have all the canes fused together, we're going to kind of smooth everything out. We don't want to gather over this with a lot of texture, because when you have texture on a bubble you gather on, you're going to trap little bubbles. So we're going to try to smooth that out a little bit more with the block, with the marver. This is a pad of newspaper, soaked in water, folded up, and we're going to use that to shape the glass. And here we go, into the furnace. Furnace is kept at 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit. And the glass sits in there just like liquid in a bowl. Gather it out. I'm going to use this cherry wood block to shape, center, and cool it right off the end of the pipe. You can see the bubbles starting to warm up. It starts to get that wiggle back. Declan's going to put a little water on the newspaper. Good assistant taking care of the gaffer. Make our way back to the bench. You can see it's already softened up quite a bit. We use that paper tool to shape the bubble. Spending a little extra time on the tip of the bubble because that will become the bottom of the vessel. We don't want it to become too thin. So cooling it off with the paper before we inflate it will leave that little extra thickness. Then it's time to cut in the jack line. This is going to be our break line. This is where we're going to break it free from the blowpipe. Cool the tip of the bubble. Always cooling the tip of the bubble before you're going to inflate it or shape it. Look at that team. I got a great team for this piece. Everybody was there to help out, which made the whole process very easy and fun. So we're going to paddle the bottom. And then keeping the newspaper on the sides will just allow us to get that nice angle. Jacks on the side do the same thing. And now it's time for the punty. This is a little bit of glass on the end of a solid rod. This is how we're going to flip this piece around to kind of cool off the tip a little bit before I stick it on there. Try to hit right on center. Let it cool off. Few drops of cold water just on that little jack line, and a light tap that should break free. We'll get back into the heat. Now we're going to add a little lip wrap to the top of the piece just as an accent. So we'll start warming up the lip while Chris gets the lip wrap ready. We'll stick it right to the lip. I'll pull back so it creates a nice little line of color just around the lip or the opening. We'll smooth it all in. We'll puff it up a little bit. Make the shoulder nice and round. And then I pre-made these flowers. I pre-made the flowers a few days beforehand. And some leaves. To make these leaves and the flowers, I made little rondelles. I used an opaque color overlaid with a transparent color and then some clear on top. And then I cut up the rondelles to make the petals So they have this really glassy light quality with the clear glass on top and the color on the back. Pre-making them and then sticking them on allows us to get this really nice detail. We'll use this hot torch to heat the leaves. Heating the glass up, it becomes gooey and sticky. We can stick it right to the hot vase. The hotter two pieces of glass are when they're stuck together, the more permanent of attachment they'll be. So we use that hot torch to really warm that right up. That hot torch runs around 3,000 to 4,000 degrees. Chris was heating up those flowers in a reheating oven, so they were warm. He brings them over. I grabbed them with the tweezers and was using that hot torch to bring them closer to 2100, where they start to glow and they're gooey and soft, and then we stick them on. If he got it hot enough to stick on that paddle, they would stick right to the paddle. So we just warm them up on the paddle, and then we use that hot torch to get them hot and sticky again. Put the leaves on first, then stick the flower right in between. One last flower. This one's my favorite. Make sure that's really stuck on there. Heat up the connection, and then once it's moving around a little bit, we can push it back onto the vase. Chris is using that fluffy torch on the bottom of the piece. So as I'm like fixing the flowers and making sure they're in place, Chris was using that fluffy torch just to keep the bottom and the punty nice and warm so it didn't crack and break. A few drops of cold water. A light tap. Now that does leave a sharp edge. We call it a punty mark or a punty scar. So we'll soften the sharp edges with that hot torch and into the oven for slow cooling. That was fun. I have a great team. Made it easy. All of them. This is a fun demonstration. This Bring the Heat brings a lot of departments at the museum together, and I got to make something fun with my amazing team. Thanks for watching this Bring the Heat breakdown with Catherine Ayers. If you want to see more, the full demo for this piece can be found on our YouTube channel.